Hello everyone, this is Ziki here and I hope you're all doing very well. How has been your 2024 so far? Anyway, it being the first day of 2024, I decided to talk about something that is very, very important. The reason why most of us, we wake up every day to go and work, that is food. Putting food on the table is the reason why we go to work. But then what happens if we start being careless with the food, if we start being wasteful? In this video, I am going to be talking about food wastage in China. Now, not so long ago, according to history, China was very, very poor. They had no food. They had no infrastructure. They had nothing. People were literally starving. I mean, we have heard stories of some weird things that the Chinese were eating. Now, years later, China is number one in terms of every aspect. They are number one. Their economy is number one. Infrastructure, technology, and everything. And therefore, food is plenty. There is food everywhere. There is no Chinese who goes to bed without food. Because their government prioritized food security and they worked towards it through innovations, technological advancement, all these, advanced farming methods. China has got plenty of food, but the people started being wasteful. Now, I will tell you this. According to a report, between 2014 and 2018, in China, about 349 million tons of food went to waste. Annually, and globally about 1.03 billion tons of food go to waste annually, which is about 17% of global food production. You understand? So it's too much. And yet we have other countries, with people who are starving. They don't have food, but other countries, they're having this amount of food going to waste. Okay, because of this high food waste that has been going on, the government of China has been, observing this. They've been seeing this threat and said, what is happening? So they introduced what is called a clean plate campaign. Okay, a clean plate campaign was introduced by the government of China. Okay, and this clean plate campaign was a way to fight food wastage and raise awareness on food security. Okay, on food security. I'm sure for myself, I attend a lot of events in China. If you see the amount of food that goes to waste, you will be amazed. Okay, you will be amazed at the number of food, the amount of food that goes to waste in China. Anyway, now under the clean plate campaign, the aim was to curb food wastage. Okay, and the law also included mandates for governments at all levels, okay, to monitor and evaluate sources of food wastage and allowing restaurants to take a fee, which is called the disposable fee of disposing uneaten food. Okay, if you order food and you put plenty of food on the table there and then you don't finish the food, you're going to be charged the disposable food. Okay, this is a way of trying to stop food wastage among the Chinese. Okay, and also in 2020, the Chinese government introduced what is called the anti-food waste law. Okay, and this one was also targeting those people again who do binge eating. Those people who just love to hoard food and start eating and throwing it away just for fun. And those mukbang videos that you see whereby one person will be eating plenty of food, most of which sometimes they don't even eat, they'll be just throwing away that food. So all that law also was targeting that. Okay, they were targeting such kind of people who are wasting food. So they had the clean plate campaign. Okay, and then they have to pass a law in 2020, which is the anti-food waste law, which covers a lot of things. It targets restaurants, encouraging restaurants to charge the people. If you don't finish your food, it has to be what you have to pay for that. And some other cities, they went on to have strict measures where they wouldn't allow people to order a lot of food. Right? For example, if you're one person, you get into a restaurant and then you order a lot of food, they'll be like, are you going to finish this food? Obviously, some of this food is going to waste. So restaurants were also mandated to monitor, okay, and see how people were wasting food. And also, this law was also to see where exactly is food wastage coming from. So remember, we've got household wastage, okay, whereby the wastage is happening in houses, in homes, okay. Now, out of home, food wastage accounted for the majority, okay, of food wastage in China, and restaurants, okay. And then other wastage was happening when food is in transit, when it goes bad, and so forth and so forth. Okay. And another thing that they focus on were, to supervise hotels You know, there are people who book hotels, you know, for these bouquets, and then they go there, they order a lot of food. So they said hotels, again, they were targeted to monitor the amount of food that is ordered, okay, and also to charge their food and to tell people the amount of food that they're buying. Okay, instead of saying just pay 2,000 and for your food, they said no, tell people if they pay 2,000 for a table, what kind of food is going to be there, the amount of food that is going to be on that table, what is it? Okay, so all those things, again, they were, you know, put in that law only to avoid food wastage, because it was just getting way out of hand. Okay, it was going way out of hand. And they also say that from about 30 to 40% of food that is bought by Chinese, when they buy this food, especially the one I'm talking about, hotels and everything, it goes to waste. It's not even eaten. I attend Chinese, you know, events all the time. I mean, you know that, right? We order, they order food on the table. We only eat small one, but you find that they order food, 4, 5 fish, full chicken, whatever. But people only eat small, and the rest of the food is thrown away. So this is why they're saying about 30 to 40% of the food that is ordered, it goes to waste. They don't even eat it. They don't even touch it. They just, you know, touch, and it's thrown away. Okay, so they said that has to be monitored as well. Okay, so our video, we are focusing on food wastage in China. Okay, where I was talking about, you know, binge eating, the mukbang in the homes, where people throw away a lot of food in our homes. Now, still focusing on that as well. Now, for China, they also have a custom or a tradition whereby when you visit their homes, or when they invite you to go to a restaurant, when you eat and you finish food, they feel like they didn't do justice. They feel like, well, they didn't buy you enough food, they were not hospitable. Because according to the culture, you need to eat and leave some. But if you eat and finish, it means they were not good hosts. So cultural aspect, again, plays a role in this food wastage thing when we're talking about it as well. It needs it to be considered. But then the government of China said, well, for the most part, the Chinese just treats food waste first and foremost as a moral and ideological failing. Okay, so they said you need to self-govern yourself to understand is a moral good. If I am throwing away this food, there's some people who don't have food. So they say it has to be something that is of moral and ideological. Okay, not something that you just have to be governed by a government. You need to govern yourself. This is what they're talking about. Said its primary goal is to cultivate a sense of personal responsibility for food waste. To a degree, this has been effective. Okay, much of the public and especially students have an entrenched sense of guilt regarding food waste. Okay, but it also overlooks an important fact. Efforts to cultivate an anti-waste mindset have not kept up with changing dining practices. For instance, in communal dining rooms and other settings where shame and guilt can be leveraged effectively, waste might be minimal, but what happens is the country's dining habits tilt toward the private meals and delivery services. So this is where they were talking about, you know, whereby, you know, when you go to the restaurant, because of if you have met this anti food wastage law, you might be, you might spend sparingly, you know, with caution, knowing that, well, I have to eat like this, I have to buy a little one, I have to eat like this, you know, you govern yourself. But what about those who are eating from home? No one is looking at them. You know, the food is just plenty and everything. This is where they're saying it should be to your morals to govern yourself, to know that I shouldn't waste the food. I shouldn't cook what I don't finish. I shouldn't serve food in my plate which I cannot finish. Okay. I think this can apply not only for China, it can apply to each and every one of us in this 2024. Why don't we start by trying to serve, to preserve? You know, not all of us have got plenty of food like China, okay? But the little that we have got seasonal fruits, seasonal vegetables, seasonal, things that we have that comes in our fields, in our farms, we can preserve those, so a culture of preserving food is also required, not only of stopping wastage, but also of preserving. If maybe you cook some vegetables and they are plenty and you cannot finish them, you can always dry them. You can always preserve them, okay? So, 2024, for those of you who have got plenty of food, why don't you think, before throwing away that food, just think about someone else who doesn't have anything to eat. Next time, you will understand to do food saving, not to be wasteful of food. Okay, imagine the amount of food that is being thrown away in the world. 1.03 billion tons of food annually. But we have a certain group of people who are sleeping, who are going to bed on hunger with nothing to eat. That, my friends, can be something to think about. My name is Ziki, and until I come back again with another video tomorrow, please subscribe, follow, comment, react, and I'll meet you in the comment section. Until then, remember, save food. Food security is very, very important. Take care.